Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Lords of Hellas. Lords of Hellas is going to be designed by Adam Kopinski, and it is published by Awaken Realms. This is a 1 to 4 player game. Yes, this is a solo option in this game. Not going to go over it, but know that it's there. Now, this game is going to be sort of like, if you've ever played Innis, it's going to be the same idea where you're going to be fighting over different win conditions in the game. Now, unlike Innis, as soon as you eat that win condition, you win the game. So it's a big area control game with a lot of different things you have to look out for in this game. But the main portion of this game is area control. You can defeat 3 monsters and win, but you're still looking for that, and you're still might be pulling your troops over to the area where those monsters are to protect it from your opponent getting the 3rd monster. All different things that are in this game and all different strategies you can have. However, let's go ahead down the table. I'll give you a general idea how to play the game, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is Lords of Hellas. And I just want to show you the massive amount of stuff that you get with this epic game. You get a lot of stuff. Now, this game here is going to be the base game, non-Kickstarter version. So you'll notice that there's standees for the citadels, and you only come with 4 heroes and 3 of the gods. So you only get Zeus, Hermes, and Athena in this base game, which is fine. Also, the game has a campaign mode. We're not going to go over that, but it's a very in-depth campaign mode. So know that that's there. We're just going to go over, the basic play of the game itself. Setup for the game is really easy. You're just going to basically give each player a colored player board, and they're going to pick their hero. They'll get the miniature for their hero, which you see these highly detailed miniatures, and they'll get all the pieces in their color, including control markers, hoplites, and priests. And there's 2 different sculpts for each. So the one on the right is the priest, and the one on the left is a hoplite. You will also get 6 of these markers to show that you've taken actions, and you'll get 3 of these to show what level your hero is on. Before you read the player powers, you'll set each level to 1 for the heroes. You'll place out these monument bases all in the appropriate areas. Like, so Hermes monument base will go where it says Hermes. Zeus's monument base will go where Zeus is. And Athena's will go where Athena's is. There's places for the combat cards, temples, blessing, monsters, and event cards. The artifact cards are going to separate all the special cards. So these special artifacts that you'll get through defeating monsters or completing monuments separately. And for the temples, you're going to take this deck here and randomly pick one. Now, each of these are going to be different, so they'll be different per game, but you're going to have this special power if you build the Oracle of Delphi, which there's only 1 place on the board to do that. Also, the places where you draft blessings is different per temple card, for the most part. So you're going to place these out on here. So put all the temples where the temple spaces, and then you're going to put the Oracle Delphi on the Oracle Delphi spot. We'll go over how to build that stuff later. This is just setup. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. So we're going to go to the final portion of setup, and it's going to be taking 7 event cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to flip them over. If they are blue, they're going to be basically a quest that you can take. So, but if they're red, they're a monster. So if they're blue, which we only have 2 of them here, we're going to place them up here. And those are going to be quests that are available during the game. We'll also take these tiles here, and we'll place them in the location that they show on this card here. So this is going to show that it's going to be in this location right here, and that's the name of Cattle of Gurion, and then there will be Cattle of Gurion. And we will go place that in that region, which will be right here, so you know where that quest takes place. Same with this one right here. This is going to be Caledonia Hunt, so we find the Caledonia Hunt quest, and we put it in that region. Okay. Did I mess that up? No, that's right. Okay. All right, so now that those quests are out, now we're going to bring out the monsters that we put. If we have a duplicate monster on here, so we'll do this in order, so Cerberus will come out. If Cerberus, the second Cerberus comes out, it gets evolved, and this is the additional power it gets. So we have an evolved Cerberus now, and we have a Hydra, and we have a Minotaur. Okay? These will all show the starting region that these monsters start in. So we have Minotaur, we have a Hydra, and we have an evolved Cerberus. So I'll put these up here. Get a little room here. And we'll make Cerberus evolved. And we look at these cards, we'll grab the miniatures, and we'll put them in their starting locations. So Cerberus will go here. The Hydra will go here. And the Minotaur, finally the Minotaur, will go here. So we got our starting monsters put out. We can set those cards aside for now. They're done their job. All the heroes are now going to be picked. So to sort of rewind back, every player is going to pick their hero. When they pick their hero in turn order, you can determine turn order any way you want. They're going to take their hero in 2 hoplites. So the first player will put it anywhere on the map they want. So they'll place their hero and 2 hoplites out. Now, one of the really important things on the board here is going to be this number, and this number is going to tell you how many hoplites need to be there for you to control it. So if the red player places these characters out here, they will control that region. So you'll put a control marker on there. Blue, let's say blue picked their hero and they're next. They'll pick a region. Maybe they want to go up here. Oops, I gave them a priest when I shouldn't. And they'll put their control marker here. And so on. Green will go up here. And they'll place a control marker there. And yellow, the player board we have right in front of us, they'll go here and they'll put a control marker there. So everyone's placed out their heroes. We've put out the events for the start round. And we are ready to play. So, what do you do to win a game of Lords of Hellas? Because that is the most important thing and your goal for the game. The game will immediately end if you meet one of 4 different conditions. And one of the 4 conditions is not available at the beginning of the game. If you slay 3 monsters, you immediately win the game. That's all you gotta do, kill 3 monsters. Seems easy, it's not real easy. All right, so because you could become a Warlord of Hellas. If you become a Warlord of Hellas, you just have to control 2 lands, and that's all you have to do. And these lands are all of one color. So this green here is 1 land, this gray here's 1 land, this blue here's 1 land, this yellows here's 1 land, the red here's 1 land. If you're playing with less than 4 players, so if you're playing with 3 players, the blue land doesn't count, so you can't actually use that towards your thing. If you're playing with 2 players, you need to control 3 lands to win. Now, you could also win with the favor of the gods. If you control 5 regions with temples, so they have to be built first, and control them, you'll win the game immediately. The final way is when one of these temples becomes completely finished, so that you completed the temple, all 4 levels of the temple. If you control that area where that temple is, for 3 rounds, or 3 turns, you win. And there's a monument track here to keep track of when you, sorry, they're monuments, not temples, when you have reached that goal. So that doesn't become available until the monument is completed. Now, each player would have read off their powers. Some powers will let you have, like for instance, if we're playing Perseus, we have a special ability. The special ability, after using prepare special, place Perseus in any region on the map, and you can't start a quest this way. We'll talk about quests in a second, but that's pretty powerful. Starting bonus, take a glory token in the same color as your starting region. So Perseus here is going to be in this blue region, so he would get a blue glory token. Blue glory tokens are really cool. We're going to go over those in a little bit. It's an action that you can take called usurp that you can use that glory token. Glory tokens are one of the things you have to remember in this game. They can be taken from you. If someone earns a glory token in that region from killing a monster, completing a quest, or whatnot, they will take that token from you. So you don't want to hold on to them too long, and you want to use them strategically. So let's go over, now that you know how to win, let's go over what you could do on your turn. All right, so these are the regular actions you can take before starting the game. Now you will get cheat sheets here to help you out. For this is for the hunt, and you get a cheat sheet for your regular turn. So on here you can see that it goes over your regular actions. You can do hoplite movement, you can do hero movement, you can prayer, you can use artifacts. Now, you probably don't have an artifact to start the game. Some of the players might give you artifacts or a priest. Priests don't start in your pool. They're not available until you do certain actions. So, hoplite movement is simple. You can move as many hoplites as you have leadership. So my leadership level is 1, so I can only move 1 hoplite. So if I want to move 1 hoplite, that's what I could do, because my leadership is at 1. Now, the other thing you could do is hero movement. Hero movement is going to be equal to your speed on your character. Your stat starts at 01. Now, of course, different heroes might give you abilities that bring that up at the start of the game, but it starts at 1, so my hero movement is at 1. Now, if I move into a space that has a quest, I can immediately jump up to that quest. So let's go over quests. Quests are pretty simple. Basically what you're going to do is an amount of time is going to be required to be able to finish this quest. So, and they have prerequisites to be able to hit in any level. So if I have 2 strength, I can start on this level, and each round I will go down. If I have 4 strength, I can start here, and I have a 3 strength, I could start at the bottom. If I start at the bottom, I pretty much will complete this quest the same turn and get the reward on the bottom. Increase one of your hero attributes to 3, which is amazing. But also, if I do this one, I have to have 4 strength and discard 2 cards. So all these have prerequisites before you go there. But keep in mind, if I start over here, there's nothing stopping another hero that has 4 strength from jumping here and completing the quest and sniping it from me. So keep that in mind. Quests are very powerful. They give you really cool rewards, and don't overlook them. So you're going to want to pay attention to what these prerequisites are so you get there. Now, one thing to keep in mind is people sometimes think that you have to get to the next prerequisite level to move down. No. Once you've started this track, every turn you will move down. Your hero will be committed to this quest for 3 turns if you start at this first level. So you need to keep that in mind also. But you don't need to have 4 strength. So if I start at 2 strength, my hero will move down regardless of whether I have 4 strength or not. That is a very important thing in this game to remember, and I think that this needs to be stressed when teaching people how to play the game, so they don't mistake how quests are run, because they are very important, very powerful, and they are a big part of this game. So that's hero movement and hoplite movement. Well, why would you move hoplites around? Well, if you ever get into a region here and you end up having enough hoplites there to equal that number, you can control that region. You have to have these control markers on the board to be able to control a region. And remember, one of the things that you're trying to do is control 2 regions to win the game. Control markers can be taken over with the usurp action, or with another hero going in there and having the required amount, or another player having the required amount of hoplites in there to gain control. So you have to keep that in mind. Other players could take control from your regions away from you. Now, use artifacts, just simply you would turn them to the side to show that you've used them, and they don't get refreshed until someone tries to build a monument. So you could use that action. There's a lot of different artifacts that you can get throughout the game. You could get them from attacking monsters and other means, but like here, use to protect 1 or 2 of your hoplites from being killed. Pretty cool. The other thing you could do is prayer. If you actually have a priest in your pool, so we'll go over how to get that. Generally, it's going to be from building a temple or building a monument to retrieve them from your temple count. You're going to place them over in the area that you want. Now, when you place a hero out, you're going to take a look at this chart. So the base game comes with 3 of the gods. So you could get expansions with more, or if you got the Kickstarter version, you have more of those. But anyway, you're going to look at the chart and see what level it is. None of the monuments have been built up, so it's a level 1, so I'll get +1 leadership. If I go to Hermes, I'll get +1 speed. If I go to Zeus, I'll get +1 strength. As the monument gets built, these become better and better when you send your priests out to them, so you get more of a reward. Like at level 4 here, for Zeus, not only to get 1 strength, but I draw 3 combat cards, which is awesome. Also, one of the things I didn't mention in setup is everybody starts with 1 combat card. That's important, because that's going to get into how to kill monsters. But that is the regular actions you can take in the game. So after you play your regular actions, you get to do 1 special action. When you pick your special action, you're going to cross it off. It's not going to be available again. The only time that action is going to become available again is when someone does the build a monument action. And a lot of things happen with that. So it's really cool. I'll knock these off for a second, but it's really cool that your player board's going to show everything that you can do on here. Hunt, you could simply hunt if you're on the space with a monster. And if you do a hunt, you are going to go round by round and try to defeat the monster. Now this monster is going to have different spaces that you're going to need to be able to put damage counters on. And when you put these damage counters on, they have to have combat cards that have that symbol. So I can use this combat card to put a damage here. Some of these spots, when you put damage on them, they'll give you rewards. Like here we'll give you a priest, and here we'll give you an artifact. So if you place these, regardless of whether the hunt's successful or not, you get these. You get 1 of the rewards. So if I cover both of these, I'm still only getting 1 of the rewards. Once I've played all the cards that I want, so if I attack this Hydra, I would draw cards. I would have my card. I would draw combat cards equal to my strength. So if my strength was 1, I would draw 1 more card. After I have put all the damage that I want, even if I've done all the damage, the monster gets 1 attack. The player to the left is going to do the monster attack. They're going to draw 1 card from the monster attack deck here. There's a card that will immediately end the combat, but this one here doesn't. Oh, sorry. You actually draw. They draw 2 of them, and they pick 1. So here's going to be Wild Attack for 5, and has effect deal 1 injury, discard 1 combat card at random. Here, Wild Attack 4, just deal 1 injury, discard 1 combat card at random. But the hero can negate this damage by discarding cards equal to it. So I could discard 5 cards, I won't take any damage. If the hero has done any damage to this monster, you have to do at least 1 damage. If you don't do any damage at all, the hunt ends immediately and it's considered unsuccessful. If you've done damage, you can repeat and you can try to deal damage. If you still deal damage, you could continue on. After you deal your damage, player will draw 2 cards, pick 1, and you'll continue until the hunt is unsuccessful or successful. If the hunt is successful, you will kill the monster. This will go in your player area, and you will get either an artifact reward if you've done damage to that, or the artifact of this monster to pick from. So if you didn't get artifact damage this time, you're going to pick the artifact reward for the Hydra, which is a special card. And that will go to you. And more importantly, you've met one of 3 for killing monsters. You need 2 more to kill and you can win the game. So if the hunt is unsuccessful, you just simply continue on. The monster stays on the board and the damage stays on the monster. So keep that in mind. So someone else can come up and try to finish off the monster. If you take any damage, so remember how I said that you could discard cards to negate damage, but if you didn't, let's say this was the levels this character had, so it would have been drawing 4 combat cards. You would flip these over. So now when this is flipped over, this is actually this is only a 1 strength forever until this is healed. Same with these. Now, if you have all 3 of these flipped over and you take 1 more damage, the hunt is immediately unsuccessful and you exit the hunt. You'll never have your hero killed, but with those wounds on your hero, it becomes very hard for you to be able to do things towards the game until you heal them. So that was hunt, and we went over that so I could jump to prepare. Now, the prepare action on your board here is pretty cool. The prepare action lets you choose any 2. You can heal 1 injury on your hero, so you could flip one of those tokens I was showing over to the healed side and get your whatever level you had back, and have you ready to do another hunt in the future. You could draw a combat card. You could recruit 1 hoplite in the region with your hero, which is really cool. So you pick 2 of those, and they can be the same, and you do that. So then we could go on to build a temple. So if you have control of a region, so I have control of this region where there's a temple at, I could build a temple there. When I build a temple, I immediately get a priest in my priest pool. So remember where we could do the prayer action, you could put them over the monuments? That's one of the primary ways that you're going to start to get priests. So that's basically going to be build your temple action. Now, if you build the Delphi, which is over here, the Oracle Delphi, you'll pop that off there, and you'll also get the bonus that's beside the Oracle Delphi for controlling it. Now, if you build a temple and you see draft, you're going to draft these blessing cards. Now, these blessing cards don't do anything special for the starting game setup. You're just going to shuffle them all because you only have 3 gods. But in the future, if you get expansions and stuff, you're only going to shuffle in the gods that you're actually using in the game. Once you do this, you're going to draw up to the number of player count plus 1. So if I have 4 players, I'm going to draw 5 cards. I'm going to pick one, and these are permanent advantages you get for the rest of the game. So like here's response force before battle, in which you are the defender. Move any number of hoplites equal to the or lower than your hero speed from a neighboring region into the region where your battle is taking place. So you could get really cool stuff. Here's combat training. When you use special action prepare, draw 1 additional combat card. So that is really, really cool. So you'll pick one of these, they'll pass on, and everyone will get a blessing for the rest of the game. And each of these little boards here will give you up to 4 blessings in the game. So that's what happens when you go into the draft spot. And that's your build a temple action. The next thing you could do is recruit. And when you recruit, for every one of these capitals or cities, sorry, that you control, they'll have this little symbol here. You can see that symbol on this board here. So that symbol here. For every one of those you control, you're going to gain 2 hoplites. And the limit is the number of figures you have, 15 hoplites, I believe. You can't have any more out than that. But if you control the capital, you get 4. And the capital's down here. The capital will let you recruit a lot, and takes 5 hoplites to be able to control. So one of the things that I didn't mention, so we have those things for recruit, that when you move hoplites, one of the actions you can do, so if I control this, even if I don't control a city, so if I control this area, so let's say I had 5 hoplites here and I control this area or whatnot, I can move one of my hoplites in there and it will now be permanently docked into that city, but it'll up the defense. Now, in normal cities, it adds 1 to defense, so it'll act like 1 hoplite more. But in the capital, it'll add 2. The other thing too is when you do the recruit action, so where my hero's here, when I recruit, I can immediately place them into the fortification spot so I can actually save a movement. So don't forget about that. So that's a recruit action. The march action is super simple and very effective because, as you know, your hoplite movement is tied into your leadership. So it can be hard to move your hoplites around. But with the march action, I can take all the hoplites from one region and move them to another. We're going to talk about battles in a little bit. Battles are fairly straightforward, but we'll get back to those. But if I move all these into here, we're going to have a battle. And we'll go over battles in a little bit. So that's 6 of the actions. The final action here is going to be build a monument. When you build a monument, all player priests from all the monuments are going to be returned back. Now, this is not to their pool. Not to their pool. It's to their supply, so they're unavailable. You're going to add the next level of the chosen monuments, whatever. I don't need to be there. I just pick a monument and I put a next level on there. And the game comes with these really cool, massive miniatures that are in 4 pieces here. So I would take this, and if I wanted to build that one, I would place that here. And you'd see that first level has been built. So that's going to continue on until you get your 4th level. Once you hit the 4th level, then that opens up one of the win conditions for the game. But there's still more that needs to happen when you do build a monument. So after you build a monument and you build, you're going to gain priest. The player that did this action is going to gain priest for every temple they control. So that will go to their priest pool, so they'll be available for them to do the prayer action. And at the end of this, you're going to have all players remove all the used tokens, so these things, from their boards. So now all these actions are available again to everyone. You're going to roll the monster die for each monster on the map, and you're going to draw an event card. So when you roll this die, it's going to tell you what to do. So this is nothing. This is move your monster. Now the person that's doing this decides where the monster moves. This is going to be the monster's special action. So you notice that this one had a special attack. That comes for when you're attacking monsters. There's some monster attack cards that are going to have this, and it's going to be something horrible. Regional attack, if this hits, is going to do this. It's going to kill 1 hoplite in the region Hydra is in and all neighboring regions. So it's going to cause a lot of damage to everyone. All right. And some of them here are like move and do the special attack. So bad things. And you're going to roll that for each of the monsters. The final thing you're going to do is you're going to flip over an event. So here's going to be another quest that could come out. You're going to put out the token on the board. Now, if you ever had 3 quests on there and another event comes out, you can't have more than 3 quests. So that'll go on the bottom of the event deck instead. If you draw a monster, you're going to put out the monster, and so on. So that's all the regular actions and the special actions you can take in the game. So other than combat, which we're going to go over in a second here, that is what you get to do in the game and what you're going to be doing to try to win the game. Now, combat is really important because of one of the win conditions in the game is basically area control. So combat's going to occur to try to prevent that. So in combat, basically you're going to do is you're going to add up your hoplite strength. These hoplites, except for if they docked into the city, so it'll add a little bit more if they did that to fortify. So you're going to see what your strengths are between the 2 characters. The defending player can play a combat card, then the attacking player can play a combat card, and you can continue on until you guys are done. So this one here is going to increase the value by 2. But one of the things I wanted to show you, and they have effects on the cards and some of them, but if you have this little symbol here. So that's going to be important at the end. And this actually affects the person who played the card, not the person they're playing the card on. So we're going to keep that in mind. Once we add up total strength, the person with the highest number of strength will win the battle. So what does that mean when you win a battle? So if you win a battle, the defeated player has to flee to an adjacent region. If there's no adjacent regions they can flee to, then they will lose all of their army. Otherwise, they will only lose units equal to the number of these cards with this symbol that they had played. So as the attacker, I would add up these numbers of cards that I played with this little symbol in here, and I'd remove that many hoplites. The person who lost would do that, but they would also lose one additional hoplite. It is possible that there will be no hoplites left in a region, and if that's the case, whatever control marker there remains. If the other person becomes defeated that had the control marker, if the other person has enough hoplites in there, the control marker will switch out. Now, a couple things you might be thinking about is what happens if there's a tie. The defending player always wins if there's a tie. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, remember that there is a 4 combat card limit, and the only time that actually gets exceeded is when you're in a battle with a monster, because you could have 4 combat cards going in, you're still going to draw up to your strength. But at the end of the monster combat, you do need to discard down to 4. But that's it. That's really, combat is extremely simple in this game, and that's all there is. So I hope that this super high general overview helped you understand how this game plays. So again, to reiterate, the way you're going to approach this game is going to be trying to win one of those 4 win conditions. So you're either going to try to control 2 regions, so that's going to be something to go after, or you're going to try to destroy 3 monsters, or you are going to try to control 5 temples, or you're going to try to complete a monument and hang in there for 3 turns. And you're also going to keep that in mind, that that's the goals of the other players too, so you're going to try to thwart their strategies. So let's go ahead back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Lords of Hellas. Okay, so let's just start off with component quality, just because it's freaking phenomenal. This is just your market base game. So it's not the Kickstarter, it's just the game that you got if you would go anywhere and pick it up. This is base game, Lords of Hellas. You're gonna have your amazing miniatures for your 3 gods in it. I sort of wish there was a couple more, but that's okay. 3 gods in it. They're amazing miniatures where you're building the statues. Amazing miniatures that are different for each of the different player cards. Amazing monster miniatures. So awesome. Board quality, player board quality, everything is amazing quality in this game. If you're looking for a high quality game and you're looking for really great component quality, this game has it. This game has amazing component quality. Just can't talk about it enough. So card quality, everything great in this game. So let's talk about the main gameplay itself. Very fascinating and a lot of fun. Now, it does seem like of the 4 win conditions, the monument one is not really going to happen very often. Not that it necessarily you're not going to complete a monument, that is possible, but the area control, defeating the monsters, is going to be more likely. Controlling all the citadels is also very highly unlikely. So it feels like there's really only a couple win conditions in the game, really, and the most prevalent is probably going to be the full-blown area control portion of the game. Not that monsters are super hard to kill; they're difficult, but it's how you divide your resources and what other people are doing. And the area control portion as being the most straightforward portion, but it's probably where my playthroughs might have been skewed for that, so keep that in mind. Seems to draw the focus in. Defeating the monsters is still a focus, but players can't just focus on that, and it takes a lot of effort to be able to defeat those 3 monsters. So if you can't devote your time to that, you're going to probably more likely not be able to finish that before someone gets the area control portion, and you're going to concentrate on trying to keep them back a little bit. So that's some of the problems I had with it. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to keep playing this game. I'm really interested now in their sequel Ragnarok game to see if they fixed some of these things. And I've heard that they have, so that's great. So I would say if you like area control style games, especially if you like Innis or not that this is Blood Rage, but in that area. This game is really worth a play. I don't know if I would recommend necessarily picking it up. I'm going to take a look at the Ragnarok game and see how that fixes some of these things. It just seems it's fun. It's a fun game. So I would, like, if you could get this on sale or you find this and you can play it, definitely do it. I would probably definitely play it before you buy it, maybe get a couple rounds in and see if you see the same thing I did. But yeah, so if it's true and they have the newer version there, fixes some of these things up, I would recommend that one over this one. But like I said, I haven't played it yet. So that's my thoughts on Lords of Hellas. Thank you for watching.